Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
This is the female solution, and I am Mu Shemsu-t with Master Force, and today we are actually sharing our friends. You know, I've had the privilege of knowing some of the most amazing people on the planet. And I wanted to actually introduce you to one of my brother kings who is we have you know how you have people that you can have 2-3 hour conversations with, and really the only reason you get off the phone is because you have to go to your next appointment. So that's who this brother is for me, and I want you to really get to know him in the way that he has influenced my growth and development, and even my creativity. So let me bring to the stage my dear friend, uh, and he could probably be one of my mentors at this point. But Brother G, come on in, come on in.
Greetings,
Hey,
everybody.
yes, welcome to Master Force with Mu Shemsu-t.
All right.
And I'd like to grace this stage with people who are doing amazing projects and bringing amazing love to the world.
Mhm.
So, before we get into the beautiful work that you're doing, I'd like you to, introduce yourself and give people a little bit of background, tell folks where you're from, and let them know why I love you so much.
Hey, y'all. I don't know why she loves me so much, but I can tell you the things that I do. I'm a writer, and just about just toss me into any sort of writing situation, and I'll do it. I've been a spoken word. I was a spoken word comedian, comedy spoken word. I've been an author. That's ongoing. I've been a journalist. I used to work for the Associated Press. Um, I've even dabbled in music a little bit, and now I'm doing some evolutionary examinations of who and what we are as human beings in general, but especially as people of African descent.
Yeah, and you have been doing that particular work for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember back in 2008, 2009, when I was preparing to take a group of students to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And I had you come in and work with the students. But what I really had you come in and do, I wanted you to share your work. You had just such a great capture of work, and can you tell people about the Shades of Memnon? Now let's start with book one here.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this work.
Hey, look, y'all. I got tired of comic books. Right? They wasn't doing nothing for Black folks in terms of representation. I used to write reviews of comic books for the American Library Association. I would do a review and I would sell a lot of comic books for the people in the industry. And I got together with them and said, hey, look, why don't y'all do some great Black characters? And over the years, they didn't do it. And I said, you know what? I'm getting out of here. And I started doing research. Let me find out who our great heroes are. Not only that, but let me find out who the great heroes are who are of like a Muhammad Ali or a Michael Jordan type of thing. People who are Black but are world heroes. And this is what Memnon is. Memnon is the African hero from the Trojan War that hardly anybody knows about. Everybody knows about the Odyssey. Everybody knows about the Iliad. Teachers, usually they teach those texts, but they never bring up the third book, which is called the Ethiopus. And Memnon was the star of that book. I'm the first person to bring him back into the world in over 2,000 years. And the ironic thing is that anybody who had, up until the 18th century, anyone, particularly in Europe, who had what they call a classical education, they knew about Memnon. They knew he was Black. They knew he was magnificent. And furthermore, they knew he was made immortal by the gods. And that's the key right there. That is the key. the gods, they revered this brother so much that when he was killed and out there doing good in the world, they said, we're going to bring him back and make him into a god. But he declined to go and live on Mount Olympus, and he went back where his own people dwell, across the great Atlantic Ocean. They called it the Ethiopian Ocean, and he came back across towards the Americas. So this book, it's a 7-book series. I've only completed 3, and it's all about the Memnon legacy. It shows how Memnon is attached to different places all around the world. And basically what it does, it actually makes ancient Black history and culture a worldwide phenomenon. It's an epic, and also the director Bill Duke from Hollywood, he actually wrote the introduction to the book too.
And now, have you been able to introduce this into any of the schools in the United States where it's part of their curriculum, so that they can start teaching the classical arts of our people?
One of the things I'm most proud of is that what's the boys' high school in on the South Side in Chicago?
Hales Franciscan.
Not
is
that
it Hales? Oh, no. Prospectus.
Yeah.
Is it Prospectus? Mm-hmm.
They actually incorporated. No, it's a school who's famous for sending all of their kids to college every year.
Oh yes, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this book, I don't remember the name in a second, but this book has been on their curriculum since they started doing that. And their teachers and the administrators and everybody, they put this into the curriculum, and it has had a profound effect upon the kids. To give you an example of the effect that this book has, there was a book on the west side, the near west side of Chicago. They were using this book in their classroom, and all the kids were reading it. 8th grades, I was invited to come there and speak to the kids. And as I was walking through, they was giving me a tour of the school. And I was walking through the lunchroom with one of the teachers, and a young man that looks just like this cover right here. He looked just like the cover. He came up to me, he shook my hand, and he kept following me around. And I asked the teacher, I said, who is this young man? And he said, oh, that's our Memnon. And I said, what, you mean his name was Memnon? He said, no. He explained to me, this young man was a basketball player. And one day he did something spectacular on the court, and all the kids started chanting, Memnon, 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 Memnon. He said that the kids used to talk about my book the way they would hear them talk about movies or video games or something. They were so inspired by the Memnon series that they found somebody amongst themselves who represented the character.
That is beautiful. That is wonderful to hear. And now, how is this first book different from the second book? What does the second book bring about in the Shades of Memnon?
The Memnon book is a trilogy. The first book is about a young man named Memnon, who's the son of the Memnon of Troy. And he was a young man that was left at home when his father went to the great Trojan battle. And he grew up thinking that his father was dead. In this first book, he finds out his dad is really alive. And then he goes on a quest to get his dad. And so that the beginning of that quest happens in the first book. In the second book, it gets a lot more intense. He goes to Europe. He goes to the islands in the Mediterranean. He has all kinds of battles with his father's enemies. His father's friends teach him different martial arts. And so each one of the books is dedicated to a different level of martial arts also. So the first book is like martial arts, internal, studying of martial arts. Second book is external martial arts tactics and all that. And third book is martial arts mastery. And these books have had a profound effect on that group of people too. Wesley Snipes called me years ago. He wanted to do this book as a series, and he told me that he found out about it because he hangs out with the on the sets. He said he was hanging out not with the actors, but he hangs out with the stunt people because they were all martial artists like him.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He said he was on one movie set, and a couple of the brothers were reading the Shades of Memnon book. And, he looked at it. He saw it was kind of curious. They say it was on another movie site, and another couple of groups was reading the book. and he said he finally had to ask, like, brothers, what's up with this? And they said, what, you don't know about this Memnon book, brother?
Right.
You got to get down with the Memnon. So he read it. He read all 3 books in the series. He called me, and we made a deal to do movies. Unfortunately, he shortly went to jail afterwards, so that's been on hold for since then. But that's the I could tell you a lot of different stories that's like that. The last people I was talking to a couple years ago was Sony Pictures. They called me up. They wanted a new Black Panther. We could not come to agreement on some of the business arrangements. So that was kind of put on hold. But now we got AI, and I'm going to put out all my stuff with AI animation, and I will
wow!
I'll
that would be an exciting project to watch come to life. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Now this 3rd book, you know, this is a special book for me. So tell us a little bit about this book.
People like Mu, they was on my case for writing all these boy books. You know, it was, you know, all my books. I mean, you know, I love Black women, and I would never leave y'all out. So all my books are have very strong women in them. But they was on my case to like do a book about, you know, with the woman as the leader. And so I found a way to bring back Nefertari. She was a real person, unlike Memnon, who was like a mythological, metaphorical person. But Nefertari was a real person, and she actually did save the world. Nefertari, the world would be different. As bad as it is now, the world would be much worse if it wasn't for what she did in the 18th dynasty. She stopped these Nazi type of people from taking over the whole world. And for what she did, they had parades for this woman. She was the most, this is just so ironic. And I'm glad I'm sort of like a woman's forum so that you all can know this. The greatest hero of the ancient Kemetic people, it wasn't any of the men, it was her. They had parades for Nefertari for 1,000 years after she died. Can you imagine that? You know, you've been gone for 1,000 years and people still revere you. There's still temples with her name and images on it. Why? Because she stopped evil in its track. There was these Nazi type of people that was trying to take over the whole world. They succeeded in taking over the Middle East, part of the Europe, other parts of Africa, and she's got together with her brothers and her family, and she she put a stop to them. So she's part of the African legends genre. She is actually in the same universe as Memnon. So when I do these movies and animation and all that, they will be cross. You know, they'll be like, I'm coming out. There'll be something that's similar to like Avengers Endgame, where all the characters come together and they the big threat and all that kind of stuff like that. So it's a universe. It's the Kushite universe. And the amazing thing, y'all, is that when I was doing research for this, I kept on finding out about these great ancient secrets about African people, you know, about who we are and what made us tick and how we did a lot of the interesting things that, you know, that you can see we did, but people can't figure out how we did it.
Yes.
So, you know, part of what I've come up with lately with my Afromance books is I found a way to actually do the actual research to bring those things to the fore and sort of like take the inner core of these books and transform it into a document that the average person can read that will uplift their lives, even you know, not associated with these books.
Wonderful. Now you said this is the 3 of 7. What can we look for the other ones to come out? Is that something like in 2027?
Now that I got Afromance off my chest, and also, you know, here's the thing too. Everybody that came to me, you know, who's, you know, Sony was just one in a string of people. They always want to buy my work, you know, as a group. And I wanted to make sure that when I put out the other books, I would have more of a cohesive. I know all the stories. I know the stories front and back. They're not written, but I have the plot lines of all 7 of the Memnon books, all 3 of the Nefertari books. I even have a book called Nimrod the Hunter about the great hero in Mesopotamia. Yeah, I know all these. You know, Memnon is a 7-book. Nefertari is going to be a 3-book. And Nimrod the Hunter is going to be a 3-book too. And I have all those things mapped out and everything. So now that AI has come out, I will be putting all those things out. I'll be putting those books out. And the interesting thing is they will have a companion will be animation along with them.
I love that. Now, where do you get your inspiration from to write and create this information?
I have two inspirations. One is the surety in my heart that we are who we are, that people like Paul Robeson and Muhammad Ali and people of that nature are not anomalies. People like the Williams sisters and all these people. I'm focusing on the athletes right now because they're more of what you can see, but there's so many other people of us. There's something special about African people. And when I was doing my research into the ancient world, I kept on seeing things about other people surrounding African people, other people surrounding them, not themselves, other people surrounding them, saying that they were superior, saying that they were the most favored of God, that they were the most moral people, they were the most strong people, and also the most prettiest people. Because we stay pretty a long time, all right? so I wanted
That's
to
right.
yeah, I wanted to package that. That had never been packaged in an adventure format, for our children to see. The Nefertari book. A sister came up to me. I saw a sister the year before last. She was homeless, looked like she was on her last leg. I gave her a copy of the book, even though I was out on the street on 125th selling the books. I just was compelled to do that. And I signed the book to her. She came back a few months later, the next year. This was the year before last, so she came back the next year. She's looking beautiful, and she came up to me and told me that this book saved her life. She said that she was going through things, and when Nefertari overcame the things that she overcame,
Yes.
it inspired her to overcome the things that she inspired in her life. She said she was engaged with a sort of like a women's upliftment group, and she had introduced my book as a reading source for these women. So this is what I write for. This is what I do. This is what I do my work for, and the reason why I haven't sold out. I mean, I won't tell you, but there's a lot. Starting with 20th Century Fox, a lot of people have come to me want to get these books, but I wanted to make sure that what I described to you about how these books affect people. I want to make sure that the productions, whatever animation or movie, continues that, and now thanks to AI, I will be able to do that.
I know exactly what you mean. I'm working with an advertising company, and they sent me a video today and say, "Oh, we have the video for your summit." And I said, "No, no." I said, "We do not speak like that to our people." Mm-hmm. But they couldn't even hear it, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, they look. What I found out when I was doing my research is it's not that they can't hear it; it's that they cannot accept it. Mm. They hear, they hear all these things, but they can't accept it. White supremacy and combined with prejudice against women, and that's a mix, and that's a mix, particularly when it comes to Black women.
Yes,
particularly when it comes to Black women, there's a strange mix because they don't want to accept the strength of Black people in general, yes. And then they don't want to accept the strength of Black women in particularly when it comes to comparing them to their women who they've always dominated, treated as semi-slaves, made sure that they were always not a reflection of themselves and their womanhood. They were always a reflection of them. In traditional Africa, the woman has always been very, very free compared to the Western women. Women have just been able to contribute in ways that women here are just now getting to. The women's lib and feminism and all that kind of stuff like that. For women, Black women never needed any of that.
We don't need that. Yeah, that's not my part. Yeah, and then it degrades our men inside of that conversation.
Yeah, we got. This is the reason why I do my work. Look, I won't give too much away. In the Nefertari book, she runs away. Runs away from being a princess, and she goes and out on her own, and gets into different types of trouble. One of the things that happens to her is that she gets pregnant and has a baby by a man that is other than a man that loves her. But when that man, finds her, he did not reject her, right? He did not reject her, nor did he reject the baby. In traditional Africa, a woman's worth is not based on ownership of her body.
Yes.
Her worth is her own.
Mm-hmm.
And they accept all babies. There's no bastard children in traditional Africa.
Because we know that the children are from the Creator, regardless of the vessel they come through. Mm-hmm. They come here with a purpose, a mission, a meaning already, and they've chosen, how they enter.
Yeah, women were blown away, particularly the teachers that have used the Nefertari in the classroom. They said that it really just uplifts the girls so much, and it gives them a sense of historical self-esteem from a woman's perspective. And a lot of times they said they would have discussions, and they will get to the part where this, the man that she loves catches up with her, and she's pregnant. And these girls, when they read that part, they don't see the man rejecting her or admonishing her, or downgrading her or doing anything like, well, I came to get you and I see you in this state, so I'm just take you home and kick you out the door and I don't want you. No, that's not how Black men who have been acclimated in true Black manhood. Black manhood is not manhood, and period is not based on ownership. It's based on clearing the field for safety. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to clear the field for safety. That's why we're bigger, stronger. We're the most intimidating men in the whole world, and that is not for anything like hurting people or harming people. It's to be guardians, and that's what it's for.
That's wonderful. I love how you speak about that. In my moving, I have probably misplaced. I think I know where the books are, but I definitely am going to get another set. So where can we purchase these 3 volumes?
Just send me an email, and so I can get around my Amazon thing because they've been doing me wrong.
So do you want everyone to have your email?
Yeah, that's fine. Greg.brothag@gmail.com, and I'll get you some of these books.
Greg.brothag@gmail.com.
Right. Yeah. Mu says she wants some of these books, so I'll get her some more too. And and the point with this, y'all, is that I wrote these books to be not just forms of entertainment. I wrote these books with the same intent that your average griot in Africa writes, where the average griot in Africa, what they're doing is they're transmitting messages, meaningful messages, but they're doing them in story form. And if they're clever enough, they can do it where the young people can get down with it, because it's the action, is what the character did and all this kind of stuff. But if they're clever enough and they're intensely deep enough within the culture, then they can put something in there that the elders will nod their heads and like, yeah, he's really saying something. That's how the books are written at a 5th grade level. They're written at a 5th grade level. But when I first put the first book out, that Mu has shown y'all, they gave me the Best New Author of the Year award. This was in Chicago at something called the Black Book Fair. They said that Chicago Defender newspaper, they later on, about a couple months later, they did a whole thing on me. They gave me a whole page in that newspaper, and they called me. The people, the editorial board called me. And they said, "Look, we want you to get ready because we're going to do a whole page on." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "No, we don't do whole pages for anybody, for anything. We're a small newspaper, Black newspaper. We need our ad revenue. We're not even going to put an ad." And I said, "Well, why?" They said, "We have not come upon anything like this since the classics that came out in the 20s, from all those type of classics." And so I said, wow, I was really flattered about that. Why? Because I had and I continue to achieve my goal, And my goal is to strengthen Black people and make us stand strong and stand tall amongst the nations. And then there's so many other authors and so many other media, entities that they're not doing that at all. And it hurts and harms us in so many ways, and I can't take it.
Now, is there a reason that you left Chicago and moved to the East Coast? Is that inside of being able to be more creative with your work?
Business and networking.
Mm-hmm.
Since I've been here, I've achieved great things in terms of like business and networking. I've been on C-SPAN. I've spoken in front of the United Nations 3 times now.
Mm-hmm.
Because we'll get into that later. But I'm an inventor. Okay, so I have an invention that I spoke to the United Nations about. But it's all hooked. My invention is hooked into my historical research, because when I was doing research into ancient Africa, I kept on seeing things about the way that they would do normal things that we do now, but they had their own special way of doing it. And those ways were always more ecologically sound. They were always non-poisonous, and they were always things that they can do without degrading other human beings. And this is the type of invention that I've created. It goes in with my whole thing. I'm the founder of Guardian Media, and everything that I do is based on guardianship. Human beings were not created to be killer apes. We were created to be guardians of the world. We're the caretakers of this world.
When you started speaking, I remember the many conversations we would have about your invention, and and that was another one that blew me away, that we spent countless hours talking about. And how do you actually balance between being a creative, because that's all right brain, and then the inventor stuff, that's the left brain, but you kind of put it together so graciously. How do you balance
that? It's called getting some rest and sleep and meditating and getting away. My greatest inventions, the greatest things that I come up with, come when I stop thinking and I go and just relax. You cannot, my brain does not work. You can't tell me to do something because my brain tells me when to do it. Can you understand that? Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, my inspiration tells me when it should be doing it. It drives people around me crazy. It took me 10 years to do the Shades of Memnon, and I lost 7, 8 girlfriends.
Not 8 girlfriends.
You have another girlfriend, Brotha G, and it's that damn book.
Well, I know what you mean. I understand.
Yeah. But hey, this is part of what has to happen. There's never been innovators that were completely understood in their own lifetime. That has not been the case. Mm-hmm. Usually, the innovators, the people that really are out here doing something, they're not thoroughly understood when they're alive. It's usually after they're dead. So what you have to understand when you're a creator, when you create on that level, what you have to understand is that you're dealing with lineage and you're dealing with time zones. That's what you have to understand. And if you are like me, you can, also, enjoy your life, step back and, every once in a while do the things that you want to do and that you like to do to keep yourself grounded and keep yourself healthy. That's what you have to do. I have to beat back myself, my creativity a lot of time, because in order to get a good night's sleep, I have to stop myself from getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yes. Now I want us to take a brief break, and then I want us to talk about this next phase of your creative writing, your creative genius, so that people can see what you have next. And before we get into the Afromance, okay? On Saturday, April the 18th, we invite you to join us for a full day at the Master Force Leadership Summit 2026. We will have a great time with morning meditations, breathe with me sessions, micro workshops, and an abundance of nurturing and support to move our community to the next level of Ubuntu, prosperity, and sovereignty. Get your tickets today on Eventbrite. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I hope that you guys do have a chance to get your tickets on Eventbrite. It's a free event, and all it is introducing us to the leadership within ourselves. So much that you and I talk about in that realm, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to have this discussion about, I think when you called me about this, it blew me away. It just, well, I'm always in awe of your work. There's always a new level to you, right? So I don't know what's coming next. So when you actually shared this idea with me, it hit home so well because you know, as a writer, as a creative, it demonstrated another way that I too could move into sovereignty with my work, because that's our conversation. How do you own your own products, and actually work with your clients? So can you tell us a little bit about this, the creators revolution, and then we can go through some of these slides and see what it is you've created?
Yes, indeed. Well, this is, I consider the blockchain MPP, multimedia publishing, platform I have here. I consider that to be probably right up there with my other, my other invention. And this one frees authors and creative people in ways that's people never been able to do. This is several blockchain technologies, and blockchain technology is something I've been studying for since like 2013, and with an eye towards finding out, how do I get a hold to this so that I personally and other creative people I know and people who just want to give a message, how can we do this and step into the new world in a new way, and from both a personal standpoint, I feel that way, but especially from a cultural standpoint. Basically, y'all, the only reason why Black folks have not taken over in terms of the entertainment, messaging, and all that kind of stuff is because people step in and just shut us down. They don't give you away. Every once in a while, some brothers in the NBA get smart and get kind of bold, and they say, you know what, everybody's coming to see us. Let's start our own league.
Yeah.
And then the powers that be said, well, y'all could do that, but we'll make sure that nobody ever sees your league. We'll make sure that nobody will ever advertise on your league. All right. We'll make sure that if you all do some crap like that and try to get off the plantation, we're going to make sure that you all are there by yourselves. So don't you dare. You shut up. We'll give you a little bit more money, and y'all just stay where we are, and we'll still, keep telling you what to do. This will destroy that ability. The blockchain MPP will destroy the ability of people to do that at all. This is a platform that allows you to publish what you want to publish in digital form. It's people see it inside of a browser. Okay. You don't need to upload or download any type of special viewer or anything like that. But it is the browser is attached to a blockchain technology platform, which allows you to put whatever it is that you want to put up. Nobody can censor it. Nobody can take it down. And you're able to actually work with people and get paid with it in ways that are extraordinary, way beyond anything else. Can you go to the next slide there? Let me show you some of the stuff here. So here's the traditional platforms. Your audience is rented, okay? It's through somebody else's algorithm. With a blockchain MPP, you own your own buyers. You know who they are, all right? They're directly to you. The content lifespan can be whatever the platform says it is. If they go out of business, your stuff goes out of business with them.
Yep.
Or they can bamboozle or do all kinds of stuff. With the blockchain MPP, it's a lifetime thing. Why? Because to just give people a example, blockchain, most people know about Bitcoin, but there's way other types of blockchains. And I'll put it this way: blockchains exist as long as the internet exists. Mm-hmm. They can even exist outside the internet if you have certain type of configurations. Blockchain is here forever, for good. It's going to outlive us. It might outlive the human race, right? And if you put something on the blockchain, I'll put it this way: it's like finding a wall on a mountain in a valley. Okay, this is how working with the MPP is. You chisel out a piece of mountain. Okay, you have to get there through caves or whatever, and nobody knows how to get there. You put what you want on the cave wall with a chisel, and it never leaves. Now, when people want to read and experience it, what you do is you give them the key to get through that cave, to get to that same place and take a look, right? And imagine there's a force field that's keeping anybody out who you don't give a key to get in there, right? So it's this space that you carve out, right? It's just like that. You actually, as the creator, own that space, and the person that comes in to get down with the space, they become co-owners of the space. The space itself is like it's like a piece of property online that never goes away. That's why it's called a perpetual. It's a perpetual publishing platform. That's what it means. MPP is a multimedia perpetual publishing platform. That's what it is. And you can actually make this scarce also. Back to that same analogy. What if you made it so that only a few people can come there and look at your little, your little inscriptions on that wall, and other people can't come in there? So that means you make your thing scarce. And then the secondary market, this is where it really gets very, very interesting. You as the owner of the material, and other people that come in they become co-owners. You still maintain control of it. Let's say if you're an artist, and you sell your painting right now in today's world, somebody could buy your painting from you for $500, and they can sell it for $5 million, $5 years from now, and you wouldn't get anything.
That's right.
With the blockchain MPP, you will sell that person digital access to your artwork. And then if somebody wants to buy the artwork from them, then they have to come to you to actually get your permission to resell it. And then you get a cut out of it. This will go on. This can go on forever, meaning that 10 generations from now, your descendants, if you give there's a way that I built into the system where you could give control over to your descendants, when you're about to die, whatever. And then they will be able to do the same exact thing that I just described, down to infinity. This is creative control unlike anything that's ever been done before.
That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Because in our community, there's so much of our history that has been lost because it has not been passed down, or people have destroyed it purposely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is really good.
Yeah, part of I'm talking to a world famous painter right now. It's one of the most famous painters in world history. And what you're looking at the big thing is a TV. And Samsung have these TVs out now where you can they have TVs that are the best place in the world to show art. That's because the TVs are configured to show light from within the TV into the art and beam the art out into you. So this creates an extraordinary gallery experience. This is above the level of even a fine art print, because you can adjust the lighting of these TVs, right? And you can just have extraordinary. So I'm working with a couple people, and we're going to be getting together with people. Remember the guy that put the painting at the end of the Good Times? Remember the painting at the end of Good Times?
Is it Melvin King? Melvin King? What was that?
I think his name is Barnes.
Barnes. Okay.
Yeah, but I'll be getting together with people like that and creating a gallery experience in the form of an MPP. That means the gallery experience will be something that they own, right? And then they will sell gallery experiences to other people who want to put them on their TV like that. And
so you're saying that there would be a gallery with all of these TV screens around there?
I'm saying one TV screen.
One TV screen.
One TV screen, one big screen TV, and it will be configured so that these high quality paintings
would just scroll.
They can stay there static forever, or you can push a button and where they will scroll from one painting to another. And the experience will be based on how many of their pieces of art you want, right? And you just imagine having a gathering at your home, and now you have this high-end art of whoever this is that you really love, but it costs. You don't have to pay $5 million for it. It will be expensive. This is not going to be a comic book type experience. This is going to be a very high rate experience, and you'll also be able to create limited editions of it. Also, you'll be able to create limited editions of it.
What are these televisions called? Are they just regular televisions, or you have to ask Sony or whoever, Samsung, for a type of television?
Yeah, this Samsung. Just look up Samsung Art TVs.
Art TVs.
Yeah. But Samsung is not the only. It's such a big market now that there are a lot of other people who are getting into it. Basically, what we're talking about here is they put these big screens on the wall. Some of them have frames around them, like a picture frame, right?
Wow. Yes.
And when you walk in, you cannot tell that it's a television.
Wow.
You can't tell it's a television. And the artwork that gets shown on there is of the highest. It's the most high quality that you can see have art shown in of ever in human history, except for a very high end, sort of like a museum with very high quality lighting.
Yes.
All that kind of stuff like that. It's going to be the best way. And I'll be working with some artists, to market their gallery experiences. And there will be nobody will be able to, duplicate it. Nobody will be able to, manipulate it at all. So what you're looking at right here, if you are, so it's showing a comic book. So let's say you're at a comic book convention and somebody has bought your digital comic book. And what you do is you will now go into you can actually do this on any type of iPad or something like that. You take your little stylus and you write them a signature, right?
Yeah.
You write them a signature, right? And you also take a selfie with them, okay? All of these things can be layered. And then when that person goes to the MPP online forum, they will be, when they open up their comic book, right before the comic book starts, will be that all this interaction with you. That'll be right there in front of them.
Oh wow!
Right? Yeah. So this is above the level of just a book signature. All right. And what I just described to you will last forever. So you'll be able to pass that comic book with your digital interaction and signature on it. You'll be able to pass that down to their descendants because it's blockchain based.
Now, are comic books, are they still doing a lot of comic demonstrations and expos and all of that? Yes. Is that still happening?
Yeah. There's even more Black comic books these days than they were. Unfortunately, they're usually clones of white folks' comic books because we don't know enough about our history and we don't have enough variation in our culture to know what to do, otherwise. If I started a comic book company, you wouldn't see a superhero. All right. There's so many other things that we can do with that. So here's a way for you to actually create limited editions of whatever it is that you use an MPP for. You can have one of these edition, let's say like the gallery experience. You can actually do something like go and create a special documentary. You could interview the people's family, have them go into and get some like family archives of their loved one when they were alive. This might be somebody who's passed away, and put that in a special edition of this gallery experience, a special edition of the gallery experience, right? And that wouldn't be a part of the let's say you make only 200 of these, all right? So only 200 will be these special gallery experiences that show a documentary attached to the MPP, right? That's attached to the MPP. Then the rest of them can just be, just a regular gallery experience. So you can do that in many ways. You can do this with music. If you all can understand what can happen if you do that with music, you put your own albums out, you go and you meet your fans, or you have some type of sweepstakes for your fans, and you have somebody win, let's say a one-on-one with you, okay? Win a one-on-one with me, and I would now take that one-on-one and I will put it onto your album. It'll be a part of your album that only you have access to, right? Only you will have access to, but other people. And I can do the same thing with other people too. There's a singer named Chris Brown who he charges fans like hundreds, I think $1,000 to take selfies with him. He could use this thing and actually give those fans some real serious value. He could give them some very, very serious value. What I would do if I was him, for fans who pay that amount of money just to take a selfie with me, I would give them an album collection. A special album collection on the MPP along with that picture, right? Right? There will be a family heirloom that will go down in history. And also with this, y'all, you can put sponsorship with the MPP. You can put sponsorship with the MPP. My books that that Mu just showed y'all, I can actually make a deal with all kinds of people, with barbershops, to promote the Nefertari. I can make a deal with like, hair shops for women or whatever. And I can actually have a poster in their place of business where people can come in, sit down while they're waiting to get their hair done. They can actually hit a QR code where a preview of that book, they'll be able to read a preview of that book on their iPad or their phone while they're sitting there to wait, get their hair done. Before the preview or after the preview, I can put an actual message from that very shop, and then if the shop wants to pay me enough money, I'll put a permanent message in there. But I can do all this stuff. I can put messages in. I can put sponsorships in. I can take sponsorships out. I can change the language of the books. This is unprecedented.
It's 4 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Now, what is this more of the looking at the brilliance of the?
Yeah, this is that artwork. Another thing that you can actually do to augment this, they didn't quite show it right. It's showing some swirls on there, whatever. That's the only thing they knew how to show. But you can actually use AI to actually augment this also. You can make AI make that painting come to life, right? You can make it birds fly by, a deer run through it or whatever, and then it'll snap back to what the author, what the painter painted, right? So it'll be a digital multimedia experience of this stuff. You'll see the static art, the way they painted it, but then the AI will bring it to life and make, have some sounds and
like it's moving and have a little bit of the light vibrating.
A bear could walk through there, or whatever, or I could animate the artist himself
walking inside of their art,
walking inside of his own landscape. I can animate that artist. All I have to do is take a picture of the artist, and that could be a part of the limited edition that we're talking about. In fact, not only could I animate the artist, I could animate the artist and his current family that's still alive.
Wow.
Walking through that landscape and say, hi, thank you for, for purchasing my gallery experience here. This is my family, you can do all that. So AI combined with this enables me to do that type of experience. So this is what you can do. You can offer free samples. You can hook the audience with the free samples. You can charge recurring subscriptions, unlock serialized chapters. This could actually revive the old system where people would do the Boondocks used to be in the newspapers. It used to be a newspaper.
And I was thinking about Jet. Remember Jet? People had subscriptions to Jet and Ebony and all of that, all of those historical documents.
This could revive all of that. This could revive all that. This could revive the Black newspaper business. And instead of having little boys and little girls outside selling you physical copies of the book, they can actually have a little panel that they hold up that you come by to buy the book. I mean, to buy the newspaper. You can flash onto a QR code, and now that PPP, that MPP of that newspaper will jump onto your screen. Okay.
Wow. Now you just went that I was even trying to imagine that. That just took me that is very futuristic, extremely futuristic.
Yeah. Total empowerment. Total empowerment. You can have all kinds of stuff where you're interacting once again with the Black community in a very visceral type of way, where nobody has to come in. So this is what you can do, y'all. With the MPP, you don't have to go through somebody else's algorithm. You can actually, if you are a person that has a nice amount of followers and any type of social media, you can use the MPP to supercharge that. Okay, you can actually supercharge that with an MPP. So this is the way the generational wealth thing goes. The buyer acquires the asset. The fan requests the transfer. Let's say somebody wants to buy the asset. The creator says, "Okay, let's take a look at this," and then the creator says, "Okay, I'm gonna approve the sale," because the authentication. This is what I want to express. The authentication of the digital item rests with the artist forever. The artist is the one that authenticates. That's the reason why the fan must come by. Once the fan gets a digital copy of this, it's all a digital copy. But once they get a digital copy of it and they want to sell this digital copy to someone else, then the artist, the creator, will have to give them the right to do that, because the creator has the key to the blockchain. And the key to the blockchain is the key to you become your own gallery, y'all. Okay.
Yeah. And it becomes a family legacy that you have to have a key to actually acquire or get into it or to see it.
Right. You have to have that. So let's say down there it says the inheritance, the buyer passes away.
Yeah.
Family transfers, from the administrative panel that I have control of over my book, or the other, or somebody else who gets into the platform will have control of it. And now that archive becomes a family legacy.
Wow.
Oh, and incidentally, y'all, if you meet an author several times, you can take a selfie with that author, and that author will have the ability to, over years, upload another selfie with you, so that now when you go to read your book, you'll see yourself interacting with your author that you love so much over the years.
Is this the perpetual ad impression? That's what that gives you?
This is the perpetual ad impression. Mm-hmm. You can do advertisements for as long as you want to.
An unbreakable media empire. This is off the chain.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So now, how do people actually begin to conceive the use of this? What are you going to teach a class?
There will be some video stuff that'll come out, and I've already got some video stuff already up there. I'm gonna just do some more extensive stuff about that. And there will be some examples. Myself, with my own book, I'm going to start speaking out about it, and and all of that myself. But this is imagine creating something like Soul Train, where you never have to sell out, where you never have to make a deal with someone who's going to try to undermine or cut out your stuff, because a lot of people don't know this, but Don Cornelius, Dick Clark tried to buy Soul Train, and I guess he just didn't want a brother to, have his own little empire. And he tried to buy him out. He said, I own the space that you are occupying on television. And I don't appreciate you trying to do this out of my control. So I'll buy. I have enough money to buy it. I've been doing this for a long time, since the 50s. You just came along in the 70s. So I'll buy it. I will allow you to still be the host of it. And, Don Cornelius was a real one. I won't repeat what he said here, but he basically told him to get out his face. And then the whole Black community got behind him, because this man was trying to get other people in the industry to come with him against him, to do that. He even created his own little cut rate skinny guy version of Don Cornelius in his own show.
Who, Dick Clark did?
Yeah, he did. The show didn't last but like a half a season.
Oh my goodness.
But it didn't fly. Why? Because Don Cornelius, what made him successful business-wise is that because he started out, a lot of people don't know this, Don Cornelius started out at the very beginning of the syndication methodologies.
Mm-hmm.
There's one thing where you create a show and the show is regional or in your own city, but if you can get people to pick it up for syndication, that means that you get advertising revenue, you get national advertising revenue, and then you get local advertising revenue. And he just happened to start his thing during that time. What I'm trying to tell people is, you want to get down with the MPP, you can start in with a whole nother type of platform, another type of empowering platform. That's what they
we've come to the end of this show, but we're going to do a second part to this, because we haven't even started talking about Afromance. And this is the book that you have on this MPP system.
Yes.
So will you come back next week so we can, and I want to give people an experience of this. So let's create that experience for them. And just, I want them to see how you've done this. This is brilliant. It's more than innovative. It's so inspiring to see a way of keeping our treasures to ourselves, and for our families. So will you come back?
I will be glad to come back.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brother G. This has been awesome today. And for those of you who have been here with us, thank you so much. But come back next week, because we're going to talk about this brilliant piece, Afromance. And it is more than just a story. It's so scientific. But how would you summarize it, Brother G? Quick.
It says it on the cover: our pro-social sexuality origins and the Kemetic chemosignal theory stack.
Wow. Excellent.
That's what it is.
So anybody
wants anything, you want to be on the platform or you want to get the books, just send them to my email.
Okay. And then we're going to talk to them more about that next week. Okay.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Until then, peace.
Leaders of nonprofits empowering worlds. Let's go.
But the vision that God gave me, I felt that it was time for me to step out and work on the vision that God gave me.
We need look no further. We have a unique voice. We have a unique talent pool.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.